Well, it's Tuesday tea with Charlie G. Spend some time with me. Tell me what you see. Here it is. It is an unscripted show. Obviously, I am doing this pretty much off the cuff. I take about 5 or 10 minutes here in the morning and try to conceptualize what I'm doing. But we were in a leaders meeting last night in church, and I was so thankful for those guys, my friends, my co-workers here at the church, that we had a meeting last night. And one thing they encouraged me with is the idea that there are two things about a person, two things about you as a leader that are absolutely critical to you being an encourager, to being a good leader, to being the person that God wants you to be. And it comes down to trust, right? When we're working with people, if they don't trust you, then that is a problem, right? But if they do trust you, then things absolutely go a little quicker. They go a little easier. And so that really got stuck in my head, and it reminded me of a great book. I probably mentioned it to you before, but I actually want you, if you're in leadership right now, to consider this book. It's written quite a few years ago by a guy named Stephen M.R. Covey. This is a book that he wrote called The Speed of Trust. And I'm going to share with you this morning just a little, very small snippet from the beginning of this book about the idea of credibility. Credibility really just refers to how believable you are, how authentic, how trustworthy you really are. And it comes down to two things. And that's what I put in the title here. Two things that make a big difference. One of those things, the first thing, is your character. Think about that. Your character really represents who you are when nobody's looking. And that's why in my diagram of a tree here, I put it below the ground level, right? It's your character. And our character is really rooted in what our mindset is, what our narrative is. You know, for some of us who are Christians, we want to be people of character, people of integrity. There's another term, right? Integrity, meaning that I am who I say I am. I really am who I say I am. I'm transparent. I'm honest. I'm trustworthy. I do what I say I'm going to do, right? And character is one of those key factors that is vital to people trusting you. The other thing up here is where the tree starts to get seen, right? And one thing I want to put up here maybe is your competence. Your competence is really how good at what you're doing you are. Right? Your competence. Are you good at what you're doing? And I want you to think of a couple situations in your life where there was a really good person in your life who was a leader, perhaps a coach or a teacher or a pastor. And that person was really, really good at what they did, but you really couldn't trust them. They weren't always honest, right? That's okay. They're really good at what maybe their job or whatever. But if you can't believe them and trust them and know that they're going to be true to what they said, that's a problem, right? And then let's flip it. We've probably seen this situation. I've actually even been in this situation where the person is gold. Man, they're just so trustworthy. They're very truthful and honest, but they're not very good at their job. And so that's the toughest position to be in when you're leading people. Like, I was a really good guy in some former jobs and former life, but I'm not sure I was very good at it. And so that's a tough place to be because people say, oh, I really like him, but I'm not sure that I want to follow him, you know? And so these two little things, your character and your competence, are really, really important. And so let me talk about competence here, a couple other things. The trunk of the tree, and this is going to help you maybe to develop your competence. What I like to think of is that the trunk of the tree is where we start to define what our goals are. And if you're struggling right now with competence, maybe you're true, you've got integrity, you are not struggling in that sense, but maybe you're struggling to get better at your job, to be a better leader. you need to define what your intent is. What exactly is the goal, right? What is the goal for your organization, the goal for your group of people, the group for your team, the goals for the church? You know, whatever it is, you need to be very clear and concise with what the intent is. And then you need to communicate that with people. Here's my goal. Here's my task, right? Another thing is to develop the capabilities. The capability to do the job, right? Some people, they want to be competent, but they're not willing to put in the work. I tell you what, you gotta have a clear goal and you gotta be willing to do the work, to develop the skills to do what you gotta do. To be competent takes practice and you gotta figure it out. A personal example from my life is that most of you know, I've talked about it here. I'm a pastor. I'm in ministry at a church here in Ohio. And I'm not trained to be a pastor. I've been in the church much of my life. And, you know, I've served and done funny, good things and, you know, led music and served when I could. But about 4 years ago now, I made a transition. I said, you know, I feel called and I want to do this. And so what do I got to do? Well, guess what I'm doing right now? I went back to school. I'm 53 years old. I went back to seminary school. And so I'm in classes right now. And it's challenging. I mean, it's hard. You know, like school was not that tough to me when I was younger, but boy, this is good stuff, right? I got to read books. I got to write papers. I got to interact with people. I got to get better at ministry. And so I just went back to school because I got to get the capabilities to gain the competence to hopefully match my character and my good nature, my integrity, to be the best version of myself. And so that's what I want to leave you with today. Maybe you need to think about this with regard to your leadership. Are you a good leader? Ask your people. Ask the people who are following you. Do you trust me? Have I been honest and do I present and exude confidence and trust? How can I get better? And do I need to do the work? Do I need to define the goal? You know, so that's the aspect that I want you to catch today. And so listen, whatever you're doing, wherever you are right now, I want you to be encouraged that you can get better, that there's hope, that you've got freedom in this country to do what you want to do with your life. Isn't that something? That is an awesome responsibility. And I'll tell you what, that's what gets us up out of bed in the morning, right? Hey, it was great to be with you today. I'm gonna sing the song one more time for you here before we let you go. I hope that you have a great day and that you will consider how to get better in character and competence. It's Tuesday tea, Charlie G. Spend some time with me. Tell me what you see. We'll have encouraging lessons, counting all of our blessings. It's Tuesday with Charlie G. Yeah, that's me. Have a great day, everybody.